Hello, I'm Mary V. Today, let's talk about playing with a pre-recorded piano accompaniment. So I find all my piano accompaniments on YouTube actually, and there are quite a few musical skills that you need in order to play really closely with a piano accompaniment. One of the main skills about playing with a piano accompaniment that's pre-recorded is that it really should sound as if the violin is leading all the ideas, right? That's the correct sort of way that you'd normally play with a piano accompaniment. You wouldn't worry about following the piano. You would lead everything. So how can you make it seem like that when it's the piano who has all the ideas and you've got to sort of turn it around to make it seem as if you're leading the musical ideas? One of the best things to do is to practice being able to change your bow at a moment's notice when you hear someone else playing the note, in this case the piano. So having the ability to change your bow as soon as you hear a note where you didn't really expect it if it came too soon for you or a little bit later, is to have what I call a blank note, and you're not putting any expression into it, no vibrato, and you're just waiting until you hear the note changing or coming back in again. And you develop the ability to be able to change your bow as soon as you hear that. But really, the biggest issue with playing with a piano accompaniment that's pre-recorded is if the piano slows down and stops and you've got to play something and then the piano comes back in. How do you play during that interval when the piano is not playing? And you've got to play something and then the piano comes back in. How can you make it exact, you're playing exact, so that the piano comes in exactly at the right time? Well, there's a good example in the Thais meditation. So when the piano stops playing there and you've got to play your little cadenza and then the piano comes in, how do you get that exact so that the piano comes in exactly when you're ready to play that F sharp? Well, you've got to go over and over and over it and calibrate every single note so that you can fit it in the gap when the piano's not playing. And the best way to do that is to actually observe your bow. Look at just how much bow you're actually using. When you're still on the C sharp, the temptation is to wait for the piano. So that's why I always play that with the first finger. So I'm in the same position really, and I can play it easily, and I can do my trick of being able to change the bow at any point when I hear the note coming in. So that makes it sound all very natural. And also I keep the expression up in the penultimate note, okay? This note. So I'm preparing by doing two things. I'm ready to change my bow as soon as I hear that note because I've practiced that. But also the penultimate note, I don't want it to sound as if I'm waiting for the piano, right? So I keep the expression up there, but at the same time, I'm ready to change my bow at any time. So it's a skill that you can develop, which is that you memorize how long you need to take. You just have to memorize it. But there are various little things that you can do. For example, watching your bow and learning just how much bow you normally use. And as you practice, and you get better at judging when the piano is going to come back, those things will really, really help you, and you just get good at doing it. So as you practice it over and over to get these mechanical issues right, you're actually absorbing all the musical issues as well, until it actually becomes a question of expressing the musical idea that the piano has offered you, and you make it your own, and then it's much more convincing. So another issue with a romantic piece is that you might want to take time, but it sounds better if you're able to, say, play together with the first beat of the bar, but then you can sort of do things within that, and then play together with the piano on the next first beat of the bar. I'll show you in a little bit of the Thais meditation how you can do that. So another issue is that if you stick exactly to a piano accompaniment that you hear and every beat is exactly with the piano, that isn't actually how you might play in real life with a piano. You may sort of depart slightly from what the piano is doing, and it's absolutely charming. So if you take a piece like Liebeslied, generally the violinist doesn't play metronomically, but the violin is taking lots and lots of license, but it sounds great. So you can see that you needn't be restricted musically. You can adapt musically to what the piano is actually offering you. So the idea is to think about recreating what would happen with a live pianist. And although it's a partnership, if you're playing a Brahms sonata, normally the rallentandos, or the bits slowing down, would be led by the violin. The tempo would be led by the violin. So you've got to sort of recreate that feeling. And if you understand that that's what you're trying to do, it really, really helps. Rather than following the piano, because if you record yourself and you listen back, you'll realize that you're actually always late if you're actually waiting and following the piano. That's just the way it is. So you have to learn to sort of sound as if you're leading, and that means anticipating. Now that's something that you can learn. With the help of recordings, they're very, very useful to show you where the little gaps of anticipation actually are, and to just come in a little bit sooner. So it's a skill that you get better at all these things. You get better at calibrating little cadenzas to be exactly right with the piano stopping and the piano starting. But that's the main difficulty with playing with piano accompaniments that are pre-recorded, is fitting in with the piano, but making it seem as if you're leading the music. So I hope that my experience helps you. And it's really fantastic playing with a piano accompaniment, live or not. It pushes your musicality forward. It gives you tremendous experience. It's just like what you have to do when you play in a group or an orchestra. You have to adjust and yet not compromise your own musicality. So see how you get on with that, and I'll leave it there.